And we are back. Thanks for staying with us. It's our health segment, and this morning we are really in on emotional intelligence, emotional independence. Sorry, it's not a word that we use all the time, but it's very relevant and it's important. And of course, joining us in that discussion this morning is Ramunujam M, widely known as, is well commonly known as Rummy. He's an esteemed wellness coach and distinguished senior faculty at the esteemed Art of Living Institution. Over the course of 2 decades, his involvement with the organization has served as a catalyst for the profound transformation of countless individuals. And today, he will be discussing the tools for emotional independence. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
How are you doing, Rummy?
I'm fine.
So we're wrapping up our health segment this week with you. And well, since the beginning of this month, we've reeled in on mindfulness, meditation, and
being in the moment.
Being in the moment. And today we're wrapping up with the tools for emotional independence.
Yes.
So emotional. First off, let us know what's the importance of emotional independence. Why is it important?
Society nurtures us in such a way that somewhere we are bound with all the connections we have. Be it friends, be it family, be it partners. And often what happens is, when any of these relationships or connections break, it leaves people devastated, which is normal. I mean, it is normal that, to be sad. But is there a way to bounce back quicker when such a thing happens? And especially in a place where, we have so many connections, right? There are so many emotions connected to different people. But is there a space where we can come back to a space of being more calmer, more centered, so that when these connections change or where people move in and out of our lives, we are still ourselves. We don't lose what we are as people.
So let's sort of break it down, because someone watching right now is just sort of, struggling to grapple on, what you're trying to say here. But let's use breakup. A heartbreak, someone experiencing a heartbreak as an example. So because we are as humans, we tend to, rely our emotions or the way we feel at a certain time is dependent on how people treat us.
Yes,
It's dependent on how people hurt us. It is dependent on people's relationship to us at, with their behaviors or, their attitudes, right? And we're often hurt by it. And so, for example, someone going through a heartbreak right now. So I just experienced a heartbreak. How do I, get that emotional stability or that independence, that I am not, too, attached to the situation or that had happened or the incident as it happened?
So heartbreak is very difficult for anyone, be it a guy or a girl.
Yeah.
And however difficult it may sound, acceptance is the first step.
Accepting of the situation.
Accepting the situation and the fact that the person has moved on, or the situation has changed.
Okay.
Then if we, once we accept what happens, the mind calms down a little. The next step would be, how can we make it work to our advantage? Sometimes people come into our life to teach us what we don't want also. If you look at the different relationships that we have, what we are in a relationship today depends a lot on what we have learned when we have been with different people.
True.
Not necessarily partners.
Yeah.
It can be,
different
like
people.
I said, just different people.
Yeah.
So the second step would be, how can we make it work to our advantage? When we, suppose if we journal it or we contemplate on it. And third step would be having a slightly bigger vision, using that event, to broaden our vision in life. Does life want me to do something bigger? So it can be getting involved in a service project, helping others. When we are heartbroken, if we look at people around us, just being grateful for what we have. If you see people, there are people who are worse off in relationships than even what you might have been experiencing at that time. It is very difficult though, this is not easy.
Exactly.
So again, doing some breathing exercises, a little meditation during these times also helps a lot.
Okay. Now, let's reel in on something more, a little more relatable. This is something that happens to our everyday life, right? Someone does something that really hurts you, or someone, yeah, maybe you get into an argument with someone that wasn't, intentional, it just happened. How do you reel into the moment?
The more you practice being calm, the more we are able to communicate clearly as well.
Okay.
And sometimes I feel, we are pressured to let go of our boundaries with people, especially with society. We are very hesitant. Sometimes we look to please people, so we don't set our boundaries exactly where we want them to be.
Okay.
Now, sometimes our arguments are just because someone has invaded our space, or maybe we did not like something, but yet, society has trained us in such a way that we tend to let that happen. So maybe somewhere if we know how to define our boundaries better also, it gives us more clarity, it empowers us, right, as people.
Okay, okay. Knowing our boundaries. Okay. Now let's talk about, accepting the situation that just happened, because I mean, what you're saying is quite difficult. It's very, very, very difficult. And we know how our emotions are connected to our physical body, and, sometimes how we react, sort of affects us, affects our health, affects, how we, well, other than, how we see things, it mostly affects our physical health. So talk us through, you talked about the breathing exercises, and I know that throughout this month you have, taught us different, breathing techniques. But for the benefit of someone watching right now who hasn't, been, privy to this, knowledge, talk us through it. Just, take us through, this exercise. Just, to.
Okay. Okay. So, one tip for people who go through a lot of emotions, you know, any emotion, no matter how intense, lasts for 56 hours in the body. Every
56 hours.
hours.
Okay.
After 56 hours, all the emotions change. So if you're feeling very heavy at the moment, just be a little patient.
Okay.
Just 56 hours and you'll notice that emotion would have moved on.
56 hours. That's
Hours.
more than 3 days.
Yes, more than 3 days. It depends on the intensity of the emotion. If it's something lighter, then you move on quicker. But something very intense, know that the most intense of emotions changes every 56
Okay,
hours.
so what can we do to make it quicker?
Yes. So being calmer also is a practice. The way a soldier is trained to fight, but he is also trained to be calm internally.
Okay.
So similarly, the way we interact with the world, we also have to train our minds to be calm, to be more centered. So breathe, like I shared the last time, simply just breathing. Do some deep breathing in the morning when you wake up. Do some stretching, let your body move, let your lungs expand. Do some box breathing. Or a very effective tool is alternate nostril breathing. You can just Google it. There are so many videos that are there on it. It simply involves closing one nostril, breathing from the right, then closing your right, breathing out from the left, and in from the left and out from the right.
Yeah.
Just 5 or 6 rounds of this, and you'll realize that your mind calms down, your system calms down, and it gives you the breather to be able to accept quicker and bounce back into the person you are and be stronger.
Aha. Thank you so much, Rummy. This has been a very insightful conversation. I'm sure someone learning right now, as you're about to step out of your home, and if you just had a quick argument with someone, or someone has done something that has hurt you, and then you're holding on to that emotion, waiting to give it to that person, remember, just like Rummy said, accept the situation, then be grateful, show gratitude, right? And then
some wisdom.
Yeah, show some wisdom. Do some act of service to someone today, right? And that helps you to, to get out of that emotion quicker. And then before you know it, you're, handling and dealing with that, situation in a better and more emotionally intelligent way, right?
Yeah, and also anger also, for example. There's a difference between being angry and showing anger. So showing anger is the way the mother shouts as a child. So she's not angry from inside. It's just her voice that is. You are a mother, like you know how
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So you're just using your voice to that
Yes.
effect.
Yes.
So if we can come to that space where we are communicating what is needed, maybe showing a little anger when needed. So those boundaries are drawn, and you are more emotionally strong, and you are in that space where you're more comfortable and you are more empowered.
Thank you so much, Rummy. This
Yeah, ma'am.
month has been very, very, very insightful, and I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rummy. All right, we'll go on a quick break now. Oh, we have a musical performance coming up shortly, but right before then, let's find some facts, shall we?